Well, with me is Charles Gard, and making some waves over the weekend when his latest video dropped. Thousands, if not millions, of viewers already. I wish I could get those numbers. It's impressive, but of course it's a massive deal for you to go back on a story you did last year.
That's correct, just about a year.
And I mean, just parking the horse trams is one item in there, but it's a bigger thing now. You're really having a go at what is going on or not going on with the Isle of Man and how it should be, its heritage should be addressed. Over to you.
I started out by just reviewing the eyesores that I'd highlighted last year to see if anything had changed. Some have, most haven't. There is a promise. But what's really got me, and I think members of the public, Paul, because when I was out filming around Douglas, people were coming up to me and saying, "This mess is disgusting. I'm so embarrassed about the state of Douglas." And it's the 30 abandoned sites around Douglas, brownfield sites, that nothing has ever happened on. But what really got me is the two new ones, one in Duke Street with that great cat's cradle of
monolith thing.
Exactly, girders. Yes. And then next to the Trafalgar on the South Quay, that big excavation that's happened. These are developers who've got permission to develop, started the development and cleared off, leaving a mess. I don't know who they are. There's no apology. There's no explanation. And a member asked a question in Tynwald the other week, and the minister effectively said, "Well, it's nothing to do with us." Now
that does seem odd as an answer.
Yeah, well, I know what the minister
meant. It's a private thing, but at the end of the day, it's in a public area.
Well, of course, it's in public area, and there's no control and there's no legislation. Now, forgive me, but asking questions in Tynwald, I think we know. I mean, people are making fun of it on YouTube now. It doesn't really get anywhere. Why don't the members come together with some solution? And if I could just offer one, say on the South Quay area, there is a multi-million-pound development. And why can't a developer like that be obliged to put a bond into government for £100,000, repayable with the interest when you complete the development? But if you're going to dig a big hole and then clear off and leave it, at least the government have that money to put topsoil, plant some grass, put some nice railings and restore the site until the next chancellor comes along and says he's going to develop there. And there's no inquiry if a developer comes forward to ask, well, have you actually got the funds to do this? I know this is tricky legal stuff, but no one's even asking these questions.
Let's talk about the Home Affairs building, which is an interesting thing, that this beautiful building, and you had those pictures from inside, look amazing. I do remember going in there a few times thinking why the government didn't here in the first place, but that's another story. But you very detailed, you've got to watch the video, it's really worth watching, because you detailed the planning and it doesn't make sense really that they would take this beautiful building and just let it go in a conservation area. I mean, there's more to it, but you know, that's a general thing.
No, that's the essence of it. Someone 20 years ago decided that all of this area was a conservation area because it's superb buildings, and there we have this perfect Victorian mansion in its own grounds, built in the Victorian times by the man who developed Portskillion, you know, a well-known local person. It was the upper crust part of Douglas, and the department, as you say, Home Affairs, the Civil Defence used to be there. The government have sold it, and then the planning committee said yes to the developer, yes, you can knock it down because you want to build there. What I'd like to say is, just because a developer wants to do a development does not mean that you've got to say yes. As I then go on to say, there are 30 brownfield sites in Douglas alone. The developer could have gone anywhere else. And if you look at what's happened with the other places we've just been talking about, do we know that this developer's got the money to do the development? Maybe that'll end up as a derelict site. And, you know, our built heritage can only be built once. We're never going to get those Victorian buildings back. And that was, as you say, and you were in it the same as I was, a beautiful interior. It could have made a wonderful private residence. Why has the committee allowed that to happen?
Well, let's now deal with the horse trams. I mean, and your video again makes it very clear, whatever people's feelings are, the opinion in Tynwald has not been carried out. And DOI is the people for this one, like so many things. How can you, well, you can't, I suppose, none of us can understand why it hasn't happened. And do you think you could be able to put pressure on them to make it happen?
Well, you've got the essence there, Paul. It's gone beyond the horse trams. It's the fact that Tynwald, on multiple occasions and sometimes unanimously, have voted for the horse trams to go back, regardless of whether you or I or anyone else thinks they should. What's concerned me is the will of Tynwald is just being disregarded. It's the will of Tynwald, it's the will of the wisp. It shows that if a minister, or maybe, dare I say, a senior civil servant, doesn't want something to happen, Tynwald can vote all at once. Why is no one in Tynwald aggravated about this? What are you there for, members? Your combined salaries every year, which we pay, is £2.3 million. And never mind asking questions, why aren't you standing up and saying, this is a disgrace, you will do what Tynwald has said? Otherwise, what's the point of them being there?
Don't get me started on civil servants, because again, you pointed out basically what you just said there. It looks like there's control outside of Tynwald making decisions. We have to kind of tread carefully because we have no proof, maybe, but
well, no,
it doesn't look.
You know, I was ticked off, as you know, by the minister, and I accept that. If he assures us, and another minister previously said, we really have to believe what ministers say. If I'm ticked off and put in my place that that's not the case, I'm willing to accept that. But it still doesn't answer the question why the horse trams are not there.
Okay, how do you move on? Are you going to stand as an MHK or something? I mean, it seems like the only way to deal with this is get inside that tent and sort it out, isn't it?
I'm not going to do that.
You're
no. And I have to say, Paul, I feel very guilty about making these videos. I don't like doing it. I don't like criticising the government, because everybody says all the time, oh, the government should do this, the government should do that. I don't know how they get up in the morning and deal with all of this. It's just that this has been going on for years, and I think the solutions are relatively simple in this area.
It's money though, isn't it? It's always down to money.
Yes, but look, how much money have they found recently? How much money does the Climate Change Committee have? Is it 70 or 90 million pounds for the new boat? 6 million in the harbour for this, that and the other. If they need to find the money, like, you know, sadly the case of Dr. Ranson, the money can be found. The money's already been voted for the horse trams. Technically, they don't have to find it. And I was again ticked off by the minister when I said it's been purloined for something else. Oh no, you can't say that. So in that case, what's the problem?
It doesn't say, well, where do you go now though? Are you going to just keep updating these videos? I mean, I say the interest is huge.
The interest is huge, and that surely ought to tell the government something. It's not just Charles Gard.
They'll put you on a committee, you know that, don't you? That's where you end up. You'll be on a committee yourself.
Well, I don't want to be on a committee. I've already given evidence here, there and everywhere. I'm just a bloke who puts videos up. If the public response is overwhelming, surely the MHK should be taking some notice of it. Okay.
Well, just look up on YouTube Charles Gard videos. I think we'll get you there and enjoy. Well, actually not. It left me quite angsty, actually. Probably exactly how you feel, because you were near the end of your commentary. I think you're ready to...
Almost despairing.
Yes. Worth a watch.
Thank you.